The first light of dawn spills across the endless grassland of Africa, and the savannah wakens like a sleeping giant stirring beneath a golden sky. The horizon, once veiled in deep indigo, begins to burn with the hues of copper and flame. 1,000 miles of life stretch beneath the rising sun, a vast ocean of grass where every shadow hides a heartbeat, and every sound tells a story written in dust, claw, and blood. As the morning mist lifts from the low valleys, the land hums with quiet anticipation. Dew clings to the tall acacia grass, shimmering like diamonds in the first breath of light. The air carries a mingled scent of earth and rain, of survival and hope. Out here, life is both fragile and fierce, and every creature that moves beneath the sky is a soldier in an endless war for. From a nearby kopje, a cluster of ancient granite boulders rising above the plains, a lion raises his massive head. His mane, heavy and sunlit gold, ripples in the gentle breeze. He blinks slowly, eyes catching the fire of the dawn. Around him, his pride stirs. Lionesses stretch their lean, powerful bodies, their cubs tumbling in the dust with soft mews and playful bites. Yes, for a moment, the savannah is peace itself. But peace, here, is always temporary. The scent of hyena drifts faintly through the grass, a silent reminder that danger never sleeps. Far to the east, a herd of elephants emerges from the acacia woodlands, their silhouettes majestic against the sky. The matriarch leads, an old female with worn tusks curved like crescents of ivory moonlight. Behind her, younger mothers guide their calves, trunks entwining in gentle reassurance. Their slow, deliberate pace speaks of wisdom earned through countless seasons. They remember where the rivers once flowed, where the baobab trees yield sweet fruit, and where death once stalked their kin. Every step is guided by memory, for elephants do not simply travel, they recall. The savannah's chorus swells. Weaver birds rise in clouds from thorny trees, their wings flashing like tiny embers in the light. A pair of giraffes moves silently across the horizon, their long necks swaying with quiet grace as they browse from the high canopy. Zebras huddle together, stripes shifting like ripples of wind through grass, a living camouflage against the predators who prowl unseen. And then, in the far distance, a faint rumble, not of thunder, but of hooves. The wildebeests are moving. The great migration has begun again. In the heart of this vast wilderness, time seems to slow. Every dawn marks a new beginning, yet nothing truly changes. The circle of life turns, unbroken and unending, as it has for millennia. The strong hunt the weak learn to endure. Life feeds on life, and in that balance lies the savannah's brutal beauty. As the sun climbs higher, its warmth spills over a family of meerkats standing sentinel outside their burrow. Tiny paws clutch the edge of their sandy world, black eyes scanning for danger. The smallest pups wrestle in the dust, chirping and squeaking in playful defiance of the harshness that surrounds them. Overhead, a martial eagle circles, its wings casting fleeting shadows like passing ghosts. In a single heartbeat, the innocence of play can turn into the terror of survival. And yet, the meerkats remain. Their courage is not in strength, but in unity. Not far away, beneath a spindly acacia tree, a cheetah mother lies low. Her golden coat, spotted and sleek, merges with the grass. Her eyes, amber and unblinking, track the distant herd of gazelle grazing lazily in the morning calm. Her cubs, still too young to hunt, crouch beside her, miniature reflections of her beauty and purpose. Every muscle in her body hums with tension, every breath measured. For her, the morning's calm is opportunity. One moment of speed, one strike of precision, could mean the difference between life and death for her young. But she waits, patient, calculating, attuned to the pulse of the land. Across the plain, the scavengers also rise. Hyenas slink from their dens, ears twitching, noses testing the wind. To many, they're the villains of the savannah, the thieves, the carrion eaters. But here, every role has meaning. Without them, disease would spread unchecked, and death would linger too long in the open sun. Their laughter, haunting and cruel, is a voice of balance, a reminder that even in decay, the savannah breathes. By mid-morning, the heat begins its slow descent upon the plains. The golden grass shimmers like molten metal, and the mirage of water dances in the distance. Herds move toward the scattered watering holes, their hooves stirring clouds of dust that rise like smoke. The air thickens with the scent of mud, sweat, and fear, for the water, though essential, is also a trap. Beneath its surface, crocodiles lie in eternal stillness, their ancient eyes half-lidded, their patience infinite. The wildebeest will come, as they always do, and the river will take its share. Yet amid the tension, beauty thrives. Butterflies rise from the reeds in dazzling bursts of color. A crowned crane spreads its wings, feathers flaring like silk banners. And through the tall grass, a breeze whispers, soft, fleeting, alive. Every detail, every heartbeat, is a note in nature's grand symphony. As the day unfolds, the savannah reveals its true self. Not a land of cruelty, but of coexistence. Predator and prey, hunter and hunted, each bound by an unspoken law. To live and to let life continue. There is no malice here, no vengeance, only the will to survive and the poetry of adaptation. And so, under the great African sun, the awakening continues. The lion roars, a thunderous declaration that rolls across the plains, echoing against distant hills. The sound is not just a call of dominance, but of existence itself, a voice that has thundered through the centuries, long before man walked these lands. In that roar lives the spirit of Savannah, raw, wild, and eternal. As the light intensifies, the plains shimmer with a brilliance almost blinding. The creatures retreat into the shade, the hunters vanish into silence, and the day begins its slow burn toward the inevitable dusk. But for now, life thrives. Every leaf glows with promise. Every breath carries the pulse of the earth. This is the awakening, the daily resurrection of a world that knows no mercy, yet offers endless wonder. For in the wild heart of Africa, every sunrise is a story, and every creature, great or small, is its storyteller. The sun has risen high over the golden plains, its relentless fire turning the savannah into a furnace of shimmering heat. Waves of mirage ripple across the dry horizon, and the air trembles like breath held too long. In the heart of this burning world, a lion stands alone atop a termite mound, his mane a dark crown matted with dust, his amber eyes heavy with memory. He is called Kano, the king of this stretch of land, ruler of a pride that has thrived through seasons of drought and plenty. But the throne of the savannah is never permanent, and even kings must bleed to keep it. Beneath him, in the shade of a thorn tree, the lionesses lie with their cubs. Their bodies shimmer in the heat haze, muscles rippling beneath tawny fur. The cubs, 5 in all, are the future, playful, unknowing, their tiny roars lost in the hum of cicadas. The lionesses watch them with wary eyes. The scent of danger rides a wind, faint but unmistakable, the musk of intruding males. Kano lifts his head, nostrils flaring, his muscles tense. Somewhere beyond the ridge, challengers are coming. The savannah has seen this before. When the rains fade and waterholes shrink, territories collapse into one another. The strong seek to expand. The weak are pushed into exile. For a lion, survival is not only about the hunt, it is about legacy. A king's worth is measured by the cubs that carry his blood and by the land that echoes his roar. And so, Kano must fight, not just to defend his pride, but to protect the very story of his existence. The first challenger appears at noon, a younger male, sleek and scarless, mane lighter, eyes burning with hunger and ambition. He is followed by another, his brother perhaps, both moving with the confident rhythm of those who have not yet known defeat. They stalk the edge of Kano's territory, marking the grass with sharp, deliberate sprays. Every marking is a declaration. This land will soon be ours. The lionesses rise, tails twitching, uneasy. The cubs are gathered, ushered toward the thickets. Silence falls. Even the wind holds its breath. Then, from a mound, Kano answers, a single, deep roar that rolls across the plains like thunder over distant hills. It is not merely a sound. It is a warning, a claim, a memory of countless battles fought and won. The ground seems to tremble beneath it. The intruders pause, their ears pricked, but they do not retreat. The test has begun. The confrontation comes in the dying heat of the afternoon. The two young males approach from the west, flanking the old king in calculated unison. Kano descends from his mound, his every step deliberate, his mane tossing shadows across his scarred shoulders. The lionesses watch from the distance, their eyes wide with fear. If he falls, the cubs will not survive. For rival males, the first act of conquest is slaughter, to erase the lineage of the defeated and claim the females as their own. It is the most merciless law of the wild. Death ensures rebirth. Dust swirls around them as they meet. The air crackles with tension. The younger male growls, his lips curling back, exposing ivory fangs. Kano answers with a low rumble, ancient and primal. Then, in a blur of power, they collide. The earth erupts beneath their weight. Claws rake fur, jaw snap bone. The younger lion's strength is ferocious, untested, a storm without restraint. But Kano fights with something deeper. Experience, rage, the desperate will of a king who refuses to die forgotten. The battle lasts only minutes but feels eternal. Blood darkens the dust. The younger male retreats, limping, his flank torn open. The second challenger lunges, catching Kano's shoulder, but is thrown off with a crushing swipe that splits his muzzle. Kano stands, chest heaving, mane soaked with blood, his and theirs. The intruders back away, defeated but not destroyed. They will wait, watching from the shadows, for the day his strength falters again. For in the wild there are no final victories, only borrowed moments of power. As the light softens into the gold of late afternoon, Kano limps toward the shade where his pride waits. The lionesses meet him with low, throaty murmurs, sounds of recognition, respect, and relief. The cubs, sensing the tension has passed, creep forward, sniffing the dust where their father stands. Kano lowers his massive head and brushes his muzzle against one of the lionesses. He is alive, but the price of survival is visible in every slow movement, every hidden wince. The king has won another day, but the kingdom is already shifting beneath his paws. As dusk approaches, the pride gathers near the watering hole. Reflected in its still surface, the sky burns with crimson fire. Birds wheel above in black silhouette, ibises, herons, and storks returning to their roosts. The cubs drink cautiously, their mirrored images trembling on the water skin. Kano stands behind them, silent guardian of a world forever on the brink. His mane catches the last light of day, glowing like a crown of embers. The plains fall into quiet as the first stars pierce the velvet dusk. But danger is never far. From the distance, faint laughter drifts on the night wind. Hyenas, drawn by the scent of blood. They have followed the echoes of the battle, hoping for scraps. The lionesses snarl low, eyes flashing in the twilight. Kano steps forward, his shadow immense against the fading light. He roars once more, the sound rolling into night like the echo of thunder. The hyenas scatter into the dark, their cackles fading into silence. For now, the king still commands the savannah. Night descends swiftly. The air cools. The stars bloom in countless numbers, and the grass whispers beneath the breath of the wind. The pride settles among the acacias. Cub against cub, lioness against lioness. They sleep in a tangle of life and warmth. Kano remains awake, his gaze fixed on the moonlit horizon. The wounds on his shoulder glisten faintly. He knows the truth that every king of these plains learns. Power fades, bodies fail, but legacy endures. If one is strong enough, protect it until the next dawn. In the vast darkness, the savannah hums with the secret music of the wild. Insects, frogs, the distant hoot of an owl. Beneath it all, the low rumble of Kano's breathing joins the rhythm of the earth itself. Tomorrow, the hunt will begin again. The challengers will return. The circle will turn. And the story of the king will continue. Written not in words, but in the prints left behind in the dust of the African plains. The dawn breaks once more, and with it comes a low, distant thunder of hooves. Across the endless expanse of Serengeti, dust rises like smoke from a battlefield. The great migration has begun, the single largest movement of land animals on Earth. Over 1 million wildebeests, followed by zebras and gazelles, march across the plains in an ancient pilgrimage toward life-giving water. To witness it is to see the heart of the wild itself, raw, unfiltered, and eternal. The Mara River lies ahead, a winding, treacherous ribbon of mud-brown water that glitters under the morning sun. It is both salvation and sentence. For months, the herds have followed the fading scent of rain, their instincts older than memory guiding them northward. Now they stand on the riverbank, faces glistening with sweat and fear. On the opposite shore lies green grass, renewal and survival. But between them and that paradise lies death, silent, scaled, and waiting. Crocodiles line the banks, their massive bodies half submerged, their eyes breaking the surface like fragments of ancient stone. They have waited months for this day, conserving every breath, every heartbeat. To the crocodile, time itself is prey. They can remain still for hours, even days, their cold patience unmatched in nature. Beneath the calm water, their world is motionless until the herds arrive. The wildebeest gather in clusters, snorting and stamping, the air thick with panic and uncertainty. Leaders press forward, testing the edge of the river, nostrils flaring at the scent of danger. Behind them, thousands surge, driven by instinct, by hunger, by the promise of life beyond. The sound is deafening, a living thunder that rolls across the plains. And then one leaps. In an instant, chaos erupts. The first wildebeest plunges into the water, followed by another and another. The herd follows like a wave, black bodies tumbling and crashing through the current. The river explodes with motion. Crocodiles launch in the depths, jaws wide, tails thrashing. The water turns red and brown, splashing and churning as predator and prey collide in a primal storm. A young wildebeest struggles against the current, eyes wide with terror. Its hooves scrape against hidden rocks. Its cry pierces the air. A crocodile's snout breaks the surface beside it, jaws clamping around its flank. The scream cuts short. For every animal that crosses, another vanishes beneath the water. Yet the herd keeps coming, unstoppable, relentless. In nature, grief has no time to linger. Survival moves ever forward. On the far bank, the first survivors emerge, trembling and gasping, their coats slick with mud. Calves stumble and rise again, mothers calling with deep, anxious grunts. Behind them, vultures circle above the chaos, already sensing what the river will soon surrender. Death here is not tragedy, it is necessity. Every life taken feeds another. Every sacrifice sustains a balance. From the tall grasses nearby, lions watch in silence. A pair of lionesses crouch low, eyes fixed on the exhausted animals struggling from a river. They do not interfere with the crossing. The crocodiles do their hunting. But once the herds are ashore, weary and wounded, opportunity arises. The lionesses wait until the weakest collapse, their bodies trembling with exhaustion. Then, in a flash of movement, they strike, swift, efficient, merciless. Within minutes, the hunt is done. The cubs waiting miles away will eat tonight, and the circle continues. As the sun climbs higher, the air fills with dust and the heavy scent of blood and mud. The cries of the wildebeest fade into the rhythmic sound of hooves, those who survive pressing onward toward greener pastures. The river quiets once more, its surface littered with ripples and feathers. Crocodiles drift lazily, bellies full, their prehistoric eyes closing in satisfaction. For them, the migration is not a journey. It is a feast of survival written in instinct and blood. But the Mara River is more than a hunting ground. It is the pulse of the Savannah, the artery through which life itself flows. Along its banks, hippos rise in the shallows, their massive bodies gleaming like wet stone. They bellow, a chorus of deep, resonant sound that echoes through the valley. Though they appear slow and gentle, their territory is sacred, and trespassers pay dearly. A lone bull hippo charges through the water, scattering fish and birds, asserting his dominance with sheer force. His power reminds all who witness him that even herbivores can be kings in their own right. Nearby, a flock of storks gathers at the shallows, stabbing at fish left disoriented by the crossing. Marabou storks and vultures crowd together in uneasy alliance, scavengers at the banquet of nature. Overhead, a fish eagle swoops low, talons slicing into the current as it pulls free a struggling tilapia. Every creature, from the smallest insect to the apex predator, finds its place in this grand theater of survival. By late afternoon, The river runs quieter. The herds have moved north, leaving silence and bones in their wake. The sun paints the sky in molten gold, and a reflection dances upon the rippling surface. The crocodiles retreat to the banks, their open jaws cooling in the fading light. A lone wildebeest calf, separated from the herd, stands trembling at the water's edge. It calls out, a soft, pitiful bleat swallowed by the vast emptiness. Across the river, the herd answers faintly, but the distance is too great. The calf steps forward, uncertain, drawn by the echo of its mother's voice. The water stirs. A ripple moves closer. Then silence. The day ends as it began, with motion, with risk, with sacrifice. The herds rest on the far side, bellies full, eyes heavy with exhaustion. Tomorrow, they will graze under new skies, and life will go on as it always has. The river, though stained by death, will soon clear again. Its current never stops. It washes away the memory of each passing season, even as it shapes the destiny of every creature that drinks from its flow. As twilight descends, the plains glow with soft amber light. The first stars emerge, mirrored faintly in the still pools along the riverbank. The air cools, the frogs begin their evening song, and the predators retreat into shadow. The camera of nature closes its lens tonight, leaving behind only whispers, the soft rush of water, the faint rustle of reeds, and the heartbeat of the earth itself. For in the wild, life and death are not opposites. They are one, and nowhere is that truth more vivid, more unforgiving, and more beautiful than here, in the river of life. The sun rises once again over the golden plains, its early light brushing the tops of acacia trees and scattering shadows across the open land. The air is heavy with the scent of dust and dry grass, the unmistakable breath of drought. Rivers that once sang with life are now reduced to cracked beds of clay. Yet across this parched wilderness, one family still moves with steady purpose. A procession of gray silhouettes that seem to carry the weight of centuries upon their backs. They are the elephants, the gentle giant of Africa. At the front walks Amelie, the matriarch. Her tusks, worn and yellow with age, curve like ancient ivory sides. Her eyes are dark and wise, clouded slightly with time, yet filled with memory that stretches farther than any map. For more than 60 years, she has led her herd across this vast and unforgiving landscape, guiding them from one oasis to another, always remembering the places where life once bloomed. Elephants never forget. Not faces, not voices, not paths carved in the earth by the footsteps of their ancestors. Their memory is their survival. Behind Amelie march her daughters and their young, calves that stumble and play between the pillars of their mother's legs. Each generation is a verse in an unending song of endurance. The herd moves slowly, unhurried yet unyielding, their massive feet pressing ancient symbols into the dust. The sound they make, a soft, rhythmic thunder, seems to echo the heartbeat of the land itself. As the day warms, the herd pauses at the edge of a dry riverbed. Amelie stops, lifting her trunk high into the still air. She inhales deeply, searching. Far away, perhaps miles beyond the horizon, she catches it, the faintest trace of water carried on the wind. She rumbles low, a deep vibration that travels through the ground. Her family hears it and answers. The decision is made. They will move north, toward the scent of hope. The journey is long, and the sun shows no mercy. Hours stretch into eternity as heat shimmers across the plains. Dust clings to the elephants' wrinkled hides, turning them the color of the earth. Calves grow tired and thirsty, their small trunks drooping. From time to time, Amelie stops, encouraging them with gentle nudges of her tusks. She knows this path. She has walked it before, long ago, when she was young and her own mother led the way. She remembers where the hidden wells lie, where the baobabs store moisture deep within their hollow hearts. Every step is a pilgrimage of memory. As they travel, the herd passes the bones of others, the pale, sun-bleached remains of elephants who did not survive the last drought. The calves pause, curious, touching the skulls of their trunks. The mothers watch quietly. Elephants, unlike most creatures, understand death. They grieve. They remember. Sometimes, they even return to the resting places of their dead, caressing the bones as if greeting old friends. And as the wind whispers through the skeletons, Amelie's deep rumble seems almost like a prayer, not for the dead, but for the living who must continue. By midday, the herd reaches a stand of baobab trees, ancient guardians of Savannah, their trunks swollen and cracked like the hides of giants. The matriarch approaches one and strikes its bark with her tusks. The wood splinters. Slowly, thick moisture seeps from the wound. The elephants take turns pressing their trunks to the opening, drawing the life-saving liquid into their mouths. The calves squeal softly, their thirst quenched for the first time in days. For a brief moment, the savannah feels merciful again. Nearby, birds gather, oxpeckers and hornbills, drawn by the sound and scent of the herd. They flutter between the elephants, feeding on insects stirred from the dust. Even in hardship, life finds ways to intertwine. The elephants tolerate their presence. These small companions have walked with them for generations. But peace in the savannah is fleeting. As the sun begins to sink, a new sound trembles across the dry plain. The low, mournful rumble of another herd. Amelie pauses, ears wide, listening. The call is familiar yet distant, belonging to a matriarch she once knew, perhaps now leading her own family through the same despair. The two herds will not meet. There is not enough water for both. In this world, even kinship must yield to necessity. As evening falls, the herd finally reaches a shallow depression where a trickle of muddy water still flows. It is not much, but to them it is life. Amelie steps forward first, testing the ground with her heavy foot. The water shivers with movement. Frogs, dragonflies, and the faint scent of hope. The elephants drink deeply, filling their trunks and spraying cool mist over their backs. The calves trumpet in joy, splashing and playing. The moment feels like salvation, brief but brilliant. When the night comes, the herd gathers under the open sky. The air cools. The stars ignite in a million silent fires. Amelie stands apart, gazing north. Her great shadow stretches across the earth. She remembers rains that once flooded these plains, rivers that once carved music through the grass. She remembers her mother's voice, her herd's laughter, the scent of blossoms now long gone. Memory is her map and her burden. A faint breeze stirs. Somewhere beyond the horizon, thunder grumbles, distant but real. Rain is coming. The matriarch lifts her trunk and trumpets softly, a call both ancient and sacred. The herd answers with low rumbles that roll like thunder through their bodies. They will survive another season. As the stars drift west, the plains fall silent except for the rustling of grass beneath slow, steady footsteps. The elephants move on, fading into the moonlit distance, patient, powerful, eternal. For in the wild heart of Africa, strength is not found in the teeth or the claw, but in memory, in motherhood, and in the quiet endurance of those who never stop walking. Night falls over the savannah like a curtain of velvet shadow. The heat of day surrenders to a fragile coolness, and the plains exhale. The golden grass, once blazing beneath the sun, now glows silver under the rising moon. It is a world transformed, quieter, colder, and infinitely more dangerous. For when the daylight fades, a new kingdom awakens. This is the realm of the silent hunters. In the darkness, every sound is amplified. The chirp of crickets, the cry of distant hyenas, the soft hoot of an owl cutting through the stillness. But beneath these gentle notes lies a deeper rhythm, the whisper of movement, the pulse of life and death entwined. Eyes glimmer in the half-light, reflections of the moon caught in silent watchers who stalk unseen. Among them moves Sira, a female cheetah, slender, graceful, her coat a constellation of black spots against tawny gold. She is the swiftest creature on land, built not for power but for perfection. Every muscle, every breath, every heartbeat within her body serves one purpose: speed. Yet speed alone is not survival. Speed without timing is death. Sira crouches low in the tall grass, her body perfectly still except for the slow twitch of her tail. Ahead of her, a small herd of Thompson's gazelles grazes. Unaware, the air hangs heavy, motionless. Even the insects seem to pause. She narrows her amber eyes, calculating distance, direction, and wind. Her cubs, hidden behind her in the brush, watch with round, unblinking faces. Their future depends on what happens next. Then movement. A gazelle lifts its head, its ears flicking. For an instant, the two worlds, predator and prey, exist in perfect stillness. And then Sarah explodes. In a heartbeat, the calm shatters. The cheetah's body becomes a blur of motion, her paws barely touching the earth. The wind screams past her ears. Her heart thunders like a war drum. The gazelles scatter, their hooves drumming panic into the ground. Sarah closes a distance in seconds, her tail whipping behind her like a rudder guiding a storm. At 70 miles an hour, she is a living arrow shot by the earth itself. She leaps. The world freezes for a fraction of time. Predator suspended in flight, prey in a final desperate twist of fate. The impact is swift, silent, and absolute. The gazelle falls, its life ending in the same heartbeat that carried its fear. Sarah stands panting, sides heaving, every muscle trembling from the exertion. Her eyes close briefly as if in prayer. There is no cruelty in this act, only necessity. Her cubs emerge moments later, mewing softly, tails high. They feed beside her in the moonlight, unaware of the poetry of the hunt that has just unfolded. Tomorrow, they will learn to run as she does. One day, they will hunt their own. But for tonight, they rest in the quiet triumph of survival. Far to the west, where the acacia forest thickens and the moonlight filters through branches like broken glass, another hunter stirs, the leopard. Unlike the cheetah, the leopard is a ghost. Cheetah, a male in his prime, moves through the darkness like a shadow given form. His coat glows faintly, golden rosettes rippling with each silent step. He is the master of stealth, the poet of patience. Where Sarah is lightning, Cheetah is the still air before the storm. High above the ground, his kill hangs draped across a low branch, an impala, freshly taken. It dangles in the moonlight, safe from scavengers that roam below. Cheetah climbs effortlessly, muscles rippling under his fur, claws gripping bark with surgical precision. He feeds quietly, pausing often to lift his head and listen. Every creak of branch, every rustle of leaf is analyzed. His solitude is not loneliness. It is focus. For the leopard, the world is a series of whispers, and he knows how to move among them. Below him, the forest is alive. A bush baby leaps between branches with a squeal, its eyes glowing like coals. A genet cat slinks through the underbrush, nose twitching, hoping for scraps. Hyenas cackle in the distance, scavengers who can smell blood carried by the wind. But Cheetah is not afraid. He has lived many nights like this, balancing between danger and dominance, between silence and sound. As the night deepens, a cool wind stirs, carrying the scent of rain far to the north. The leopard finishes his meal and settles into the crook of the tree, tail dangling like a pendulum. His golden eyes glint in the moonlight, unblinking. The savannah stretches below him, vast, endless, beautiful. He is its ghost, its watcher, its keeper of secrets. Meanwhile, miles away, Sarah leads her cubs to safety under a thicket of thorn bush. She lies beside them, her breath slow and steady. The cubs curl close to her belly, their small bodies rising and falling with hers. The stars shimmer above, 1,000 silent witnesses to this fragile peace. In the wild, night is both sanctuary and peril. It shelters the hunters even as it hides their threats. A lion's roar rolls across the distance, deep, resonant, commanding. The sound vibrates through the ground, through the bones of every creature that hears it. Sarah's ears twitch. Cheetah lifts his head. The message is clear. The king still reigns. But the silent hunters do not fear the king. They walk different paths, unseen, unnoticed, yet equally vital. The cheetah's speed keeps balance among the herds. The leopard's patience cleanses the forest of weakness. Together, they are the quiet architects of life's eternal design. As dawn begins to seep into the sky, the night releases its hold. The silver of the M,